Hello, everyone. Let's talk about organization. What is an organization? As I have it here, an organization is a consciously put together bundles of economic, technological, and social practices. In order to stay competitive, organizations need to be agile in this fast business environment. So, how do they get this agility? Agility is, again, a social process. It is about getting people to work together effectively. Now let's look at some of the traditional organizational structures that we are all very familiar with. Here I have a hierarchical organization. We know how it looks. The communication flows from top to bottom. It's very political. It's also very slow to respond to the changes in its environment. It's good to perform linear work. Military is a good example of a hierarchical organization. It works very well for them. It's very reliable to maintain the status quo. But as we said, it might not work for our current business environment where the organizations need to be very fast-paced and agile. Now let's look at a flat organization, which falls on the other side of the spectrum. A flat organization has no boss, everybody's equal. It's very fast-paced, very agile, but it has its own problem. It lacks structure, it lacks accountability. Communication, collaboration is often a problem in such an organization, and it usually doesn't work for large organizations. And then there are a bunch of other organizations that fall in between these two ends of the spectrum. They use some kind of hybrid organizational structure model. So why do we have such hybrids, and why are we talking about this? What is the problem? The problem is that the traditional hierarchical organization is very slow and is not is not able to keep up with the pace required to compete in current environment. The problem with flat organization is that they are agile, but they don't work for large organizations, and they lack structure and accountability. So what do? Holacracy. Holacracy is one way to find that perfect balance between structure and agility. It's a new way of running an organization that removes power from the management hierarchy and distributes the decision-making authority to individuals at every level. So how does it really work? Holacracy promotes dynamic roles, which means individuals aren't confined to a specific job description. One individual can pick up multiple roles in different teams based on the skills, knowledge, and experience. The individual has the authority to make decisions and doesn't need to go up the hierarchy levels to get approvals and get the decisions made. Holacracy also promotes restructuring of the teams and the whole organizations at a higher frequency. Usually, they say that an organization and teams meet once a month to look at the environment, to understand the changes in the environment, and see if they need to restructure and make changes to their structure and to their team and the roles. Holacracy also has this transparent rules, and the purpose of these rules is that they want to keep things transparent, available to everybody in the organization. The same rules apply to everybody, so that it's easier to see who's responsible for what. What are each person's boundaries. To keep people accountable and to keep things clear. So here I have a picture of how it actually works. Uh, we are all familiar with the typical hierarchical organization on the right side, but let's look at the left side. So this bigger circle, the biggest circle is, you can think of it as a department. The smaller circle is like a sub-department inside of the bigger department, and these small dots are roles. So one individual can pick up this role here, and this role here all at the same time. So as you can see, it's a very dynamic environment. People are moving around, roles are moving around, things are changing all the time. It really helps with keeping the organization and the teams agile so that they can respond to the changes in the environment quickly. So what is the goal of Holacracy? What are they trying to achieve here? They want to create a flexible organizational structure where the individuals have the autonomy to make decisions. The goal is to keep things moving fast. They want to have efficient meetings that have actionable meetings. And they also want to continuously evolve and restructure the environment so that it stays relevant. Who is currently using Holacracy? So here I have a few examples. Zappos is one of the big companies that's using Holacracy. It has been using Holacracy for the past year or so. Here, this is a link. If you click on this, it will show you a list of dozens of other organizations that are using Holacracy right now from all over the world. So now next, let's talk about if it makes sense for you to implement Holacracy. Here on the left side, these are all the things that we have discussed, all the good things that you get with Holacracy. The biggest one is agility. But we also need to look at some of the downsides of using this. It requires a complex set of rules. It's not proven yet. We don't know if it really works. We see signs that it might not actually work for large organizations. The compensation system for this structure isn't fully developed yet. And if you are using an existing organizational structure in your organization right now, then transitioning to Holacracy might be very hard for you. So before I end, this is what we want to tell you. Holacracy is still an experiment. It can give you a competitive advantage by making your organization more agile and still providing it some structure. It is recommended for new small organizations. So so that you can start off with Holacracy and don't have to transition to it. But one important point that I want to raise here is that even if you are using some other kind of hybrid organizational structure and you can transition to Holacracy, you can still adopt some of the concepts from Holacracy. It doesn't have to be all or nothing approach. So I hope you got a good idea of how Holacracy works and if it can be useful for you or not. And next, if you have any questions, please let us know. Thank you.